Thank you for tuning in to the weekly NSUSpartans.com football coaches show with NSU football coach Pete Adrian. As this week we look back on last Saturday's convincing 33-3 victory over Charleston Southern and preview this Saturday's matchup with South Carolina State. Now we bring in Coach Adrian, and Coach, your team's on a bit of a roll now, 3-1 overall after the big 33-3 win at Charleston Southern last Saturday. I imagine there was a lot that you saw in the game film that you had to be pretty pleased about from last Saturday.
Well, we played another solid game in all phases of the game again, and I was pleased about that. We had a kickoff return get back on us again, about 45 yards or something like that. But again, they get blocked. You're going to get blocked once in a while. But the good news was we were kicking off a lot. Took control of the game early on both sides of the football and kept it throughout the ball game like that, and that's what you like to see. Able to play quite a few players in the football game. Of course, it was extremely hot and muggy, as you well know, being down there, and took a lot of stuff out of our players from that. And of course, we recovered by now, but I was real pleased with it. I mean, anytime you can go, and I was happy for the conference, for us to be able to just manhandle a Big South team, because that helps us later on in the at the end of the season, just about the reputation of this conference is better than that. And I think right now, we've had 3 teams play, and we're 2-1 against the Big South, so that's a positive thing for us.
I know this is the time of the season where you really want to see improvement week to week, as you want to be kind of peaking as you hit the meat of your conference schedule. And your offense had a season high 519 yards of offense, and then defensively you gave up a season low, just 141. So I know that obviously coming into that game there was a little bit of unfamiliarity with Charleston Southern, a first-time opponent, but really you seem to kind of have your way on both sides of the football.
Well, yeah, and they pretty much did what we thought they would do, and our kids did a good job of executing the game plan on both sides, and that's what our kids have done all year long. They've executed really well, and hopefully we can execute again this coming week, because that's the key.
Looking again at your quarterback, Chris Wally, another really solid performance, 20 for 23, which included a drop pass. He easily could have been 21 or 22 for 23, and now leads the nation in completion percentage, 76%. If I told you after 4 ball games that he'd be at 76% completion, would you be a little surprised by that number, or is he pretty much where you thought he could be after 4 ball games?
No, you got to be surprised by that. I mean, you get a quarterback that even gets close to 60%, you got to be really happy with that, and even 55% you're pretty happy with. But to be up that high, I don't know if that can be maintained or not, but like I said, he does a great job of reading. He's got a good arm, and he's very accurate, and of course the wide receivers and guys are catching the football. That's what they have to do.
And probably the first time in quite some time you had 2 receivers both go over 100 yards, Xavier Boyce with 101 yards, Victor Hairston with 122, and you had a running back, Takeem Hedgeman, with a career-high 105 yards rushing. It really seemed like everyone kind of got into the flow of things on Saturday.
Well, when you have that happening like that, it's very tough to defend. You just can't pick on one guy, whether it's a receiver or whatnot. And again, our receivers have gotten better throughout, and I think Coach Fagans has done a great job developing the young guys, and they're certainly getting better. And of course, the running game, it was only a matter of time before Takeem had a 100-yard game. We knew that when we recruited him. He was one of the better backs in the state of Virginia, and hopefully that will continue.
Now defensively, the week before against Howard, the one success Howard did have a little bit with was their quarterback, Greg McGee, scrambling. He had over 100 yards against you, and you had another scrambling quarterback, good athlete, Malcolm Dixon from Charleston Southern, but you limited him to 1 net rushing yard. I know you were really thrilled about that performance.
Well, yeah, he had carried the ball 27 times for 163 yards the week before, so obviously it was a focus, and he runs their offense, and I would have been pleased to keep him under 45 or 50. The -1s, that just happens on that. But the kid from Howard's a lot quicker than what this kid was, to say the least. But very similar to what we're going to see this week at South Carolina State. The Wiley kid is a very good runner, can change directions on you, and throws the ball pretty steady. So, we got our hands full again.
You mentioned South Carolina State, obviously, the big ball game coming up this Saturday. Both teams undefeated in the conference. Neither team has lost yet to an FCS opponent. You've got the one lost to West Virginia, whereas they've lost to Central Michigan and Indiana. First place at stake this Saturday. South Carolina State's been a team that's been to 3 straight playoffs. What do you have to do this Saturday to really kind of take that mantle from South Carolina State?
Oh, well, we'll have to play a mistake-free game, and hopefully get a couple lucky breaks and things of that nature. Our kids will play hard on both sides of the football, we know that, but so will South Carolina State. And then, you got, like you said, the 3-time champion coming in here to play, and I'm glad we're at home to play in front of our home fans, and hopefully there'll be a lot of support with that. And I know our kids will be ready to play, and their kids will be ready to play, so it'll make for a great football game.
How do you compare this South Carolina State team to some of the more the recent teams that you faced the last 3 or 4 years?
Oh, this is probably, I think, the best South Carolina State team we've seen because, you know, when they had the long kid, they were one-dimensional. You knew he couldn't run the football. But now, you know, you got to really defend the quarterback in all aspects, and he's the guy, and especially in the red zone, they want him to carry the football, and he does. He carries the ball a lot inside the red zone, and you've got to defend all 11 players on offense, where before with Long, you knew he could throw it. You didn't even worry if he ran, because even if he ran, you were going to catch him. And of course, their defense is as strong as ever, and their defense has been what has made that program go over the last few years. Is that, you know, they've been the #1 defense in the league for what, 3 or 4 years, or if not 1 or 2, but you know that's who you have to deal with.
Do you see some similarities between these two teams on film? Obviously, both teams pretty good defensively.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, from a stat standpoint, yeah, it looks interesting like that. But it's, you know, I've said before, you can't win unless you play strong defense. You have to have a good defense, and then if your offense gets along with it, then you have chances to win championships with that. But you know, defense, kicking game, offense, you got to have them all. You know, South Carolina State's had them all. We're trying to get there.
All right, Coach. Well, we certainly wish you good luck this Saturday, and we know the fans will be out in full force this Saturday. It is the Fishbowl Classic at Dick Price Stadium as Norfolk State hosts South Carolina State. Kickoff is at 4 p.m. and we invite the fans to take advantage of all that's going on this weekend from the Spartan Fan Zone from 12 to 3 p.m. prior to the game. It's also Youth Day at Dick Price Stadium, so we encourage you to visit our website, NSUSpartans.com, for all the details. And we hope to see you this Saturday as the Spartans host South Carolina State. We'll talk to you next week on the NSUSpartans.com Football Coaches Show.